All right, welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something a little different today.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a question we got from a listener,
Hmm?
all about the Magi.
Ah, the mysterious visitor.
Right, the ones who traveled from the east to see, baby Jesus.
The classic nativity scene.
Exactly. But our listener wants to know, where did they really come from?
The East is pretty vague.
Right, that could be anything. So we found this book, An Answer for the True Nationality of the Magi.
Sounds promising.
It is, but fair warning, it gets a little,
Out there.
yeah, a little unconventional.
We like unconventional.
We do. But don't worry, we'll help you sort through it.
We'll find the good stuff.
Exactly. So, first things first, when most people think Magi, they think
3 kings.
3 kings bearing gifts, the whole 9 yards.
Right, crowns, camels, the whole picture.
But here's the thing. The Bible never actually calls them kings.
Really?
Nope. Or even says how many there were.
Huh. So that's all tradition then?
Yeah, tradition, art, people filling in the blanks.
It makes sense. We like a good story.
Right. So this book, it actually argues that the Magi were chakam.
Chakam.
It's a Hebrew word, basically means wise men.
Oh, okay.
But like wise men who were also leaders, advisors, important people.
So not just some random smart guys.
Exactly. And this is where the book gets really interesting.
I'm intrigued.
They claim the Magi came from, get this, the Pacific Islands.
Whoa, hold on. The Pacific?
Yeah, way out there.
That's a long way from Bethlehem.
Right. How did they even...
I mean, boats, I guess.
Yeah, but still, it's a huge journey in ancient times.
It is. The book actually talks about that.
Really?
Yeah, they estimate the trip would have taken about 2 years.
2 years. Wow.
Which, if you think about it, lines up with something else in the Bible.
Hmm.
The massacre of the innocents.
Oh, right, where Herod killed all those babies?
Because he was scared of this new king being born.
Yeah, I remember. Wait, so they're connecting that to the Magi?
The book suggests that Herod's reaction was because of the Magi's visit.
Their arrival was this huge deal.
Right. Enough to freak out a king.
Makes you wonder what Herod knew or thought he knew.
Exactly. This whole Christmas story is getting way more complex.
It is. Okay, but hold on. If they're coming from the Pacific Islands,
Right.
how does that explain the gifts? The gold, frankincense, myrrh.
Well, the book gets into some really specific analysis of that.
Okay, lay it on me.
They claim each gift can actually be traced back to a specific location in the Pacific.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, they go deep on this.
Okay, let's start with the gold.
All right, so the book claims it wasn't just ANY gold.
Oh, here we go.
It was the legendary gold of Ophir.
Ophir. Isn't that like some mythical place?
It's mentioned in the Bible, and based on their research, they place Ophir somewhere in the Pacific.
So the Magi are bringing gold from, the other side of the world.
That's what the book is suggesting.
This is wild. What about the other gifts?
Well, for frankincense, they propose it might not have been frankincense at all.
Really?
Yeah, they suggest it could have been agar wood.
Agar wood. What's that?
It's a super valuable incense that comes from Southeast Asia.
Which, again, fits with the whole Pacific theory.
Exactly. And then there's myrrh.
Okay, what about that one?
They link that to Manila alemi, a specific type of myrrh from the Philippines.
So 3 gifts, 3 possible Pacific origins.
It all ties together.
This is blowing my mind. I have so many questions.
Me too. But that's what makes this deep dive so fun, right?
It is. We're challenging everything we thought we knew.
And who knows what else we'll uncover as we keep going.
Stay tuned, folks. This is just the beginning. All right, so we've got this Pacific Islands theory kind of mapped out, but what about the Magi themselves? Do we even know their names?
Well, that's the thing. The Bible doesn't really get into specifics about who they were individually.
So how does this book handle that?
Oh, it doesn't shy away from a challenge, let me tell you. It uses a mix of biblical interpretation, prophecies, and even some traditions that aren't directly from the Bible.
Oh, okay. This is getting interesting. I'm a little skeptical, but go on.
So it starts with those 3 gifts, the gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and basically it tries to assign each gift giver a specific role and a possible homeland, all tying back to that Pacific Islands idea.
Sounds like we're about to get into some serious speculation.
It's definitely an interesting take. So the Magi who brought gold,
Yeah.
they link him to the whole King Solomon thing and that mysterious land of Ophir.
Right, the Pacific Gold connection. So are they saying this Magi was a descendant of King Solomon, sailing from the Pacific with a gift fit for a king?
That's kind of the narrative they're building, yeah. And they even bring in the emug that's mentioned in the Book of Kings.
Wood.
It's this special wood that some scholars think came from Southeast Asia. So they're pulling in these little details from all over the Bible.
It's an interesting puzzle they're putting together for sure.
Right. It gets even more complex with the frankincense Magi.
What about him?
They actually connect him to the Queen of Sheba.
Hold on. The Queen of Sheba. What does she have to do with any of this?
Well, remember those linguistic connections we talked about earlier? The book actually suggests that Sheba might have been in the Philippines.
Wait, they're saying Sheba was in the Philippines? That's a pretty big claim, isn't it?
It definitely is, and it's something that scholars debate a lot. But the book points to some traditions in the Philippines, like using white resins for beauty, and even a town named Labo, which might have connection to the Hebrew word for white.
Wow, those connections are kind of fascinating, even if they might be a bit of a stretch. So we've got frankincense, Sheba, and the Philippines. What about the Myrrh Magi?
That one focuses on the idea of sacrifice and suffering, which, kind of foreshadows what happens to Jesus later on. Myrrh was used in ancient burial practices, so it makes sense.
Right, that always struck me as an odd gift choice, given the circumstances.
It is interesting. Anyway, the book highlights this Manila ilemi, that specific type of myrrh found in the Philippines, and suggests that this Magi might represent, like, people who have experienced hardship.
Almost like an allusion to the Philippines' own history of colonization.
Exactly. It adds another layer of meaning to the whole thing. It's like each of these gifts represent something more than just a material object. They're like symbols.
Symbols of different aspects of Jesus' life.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really cool idea, but honestly, with all this speculation, I'm not sure what to believe.
Well, that's fair, It's good to be cautious. The book itself even says that there's room for debate and encourages readers to, do their own research.
Right, right. Okay, so we've talked about who these magi might have been and where they might have come from. What about the journey itself? That must have been quite an adventure.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where that star comes in. The book really emphasizes that it wasn't just any random star.
Like it was a sign from God.
Yeah, a specific sign meant to guide them to their destination. Okay, so we're not talking about astronomy here. We're talking about, like, a miracle.
Exactly. It fits into this idea you see throughout the Bible that God reveals his plan through, signs and wonders.
You have to wonder, what did that star look like to inspire these guys to travel across the world?
The book suggests they were probably skilled astronomers or astrologers, people who studied the heavens. So when this new star appeared, they knew it was something special.
It's kind of like those moments in life when you just know you have to follow a certain path, even if you're not sure why.
Yeah, exactly. There's a real human element to that sense of faith in something bigger than yourself. But it's not like they just took off on a whim, right? They must have needed to do some serious planning.
Yeah, we're not talking about a quick trip to the grocery store here. These were important people with responsibilities traveling to an unknown land. Not to mention, those gifts must have taken some time to gather.
Right. Imagine them consulting advisors, studying old texts, gathering those precious gifts, and then, setting sail on this incredibly long and dangerous voyage.
It's a pretty epic picture. But once they landed, how did they know where to go?
Well, the book suggests that the star reappeared, guiding them inland towards Bethlehem.
So it wasn't just a one-time signal. It was like a divine GPS.
Exactly. Which, of course, raises the question, what exactly was this star? Was it a literal star or, some other kind of supernatural phenomenon?
Yeah, what did they actually see in the sky? The book doesn't really say, does it?
It kind of leaves that open to interpretation, focusing more on the miraculous nature of it all. I mean, think about it. They didn't just need to find Bethlehem. They needed to find a specific house.
I can only imagine what it must have felt like to finally arrive after years of travel, all those dangers and uncertainties.
Oh, yeah. The book really highlights that moment, the culmination of their journey. They find Jesus not in a palace, but in this humble setting. And they just, immediately recognize him as the king they've been searching for.
It's a beautiful image, like faith being rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
They put their trust in something unseen, and it led them to this incredible revelation.
It really is. And, the book suggests that they might have brought more than just those 3 gifts. Some extra biblical traditions mention, like additional gifts, precious stones, spices, even perfumes. It was a whole display of devotion,
Wow, they really went all out. But then, of course, there's that whole encounter with Herod, which puts a bit of a damper on things.
Right, suddenly their journey takes on a whole new level of danger. They're caught up in political intrigue, and the book really emphasizes their wisdom in, heeding that divine warning not to go back to Herod.
It shows that their journey wasn't just about blindly following a star, but also about using their own discernment, their own judgment.
Yeah, listening to that inner voice of guidance. And thankfully, they managed to escape Herod and, head back home safe and sound.
So we've talked about who these magi might have been, where they came from, what their journey was like. But now I'm wondering, what was it all for? Like, why did they even go on this crazy adventure in the first place?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the book actually explores a few different possibilities, trying to understand what might have driven these men.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's dive into the why of the Magi's journey. So we've got these wise men potentially traveling for years from the other side of the world, guided by a mysterious star.
Mm.
What could possibly motivated a journey like that?
The book suggests it wasn't just one thing, but a bunch of factors all mixed together.
Okay, like what?
Well, for starters, there's their role as Chakam, those wise men, the ones who are super familiar with ancient prophecies and all those old scriptures.
So they weren't just like stargazing, they were actually looking for some deeper meaning.
Exactly. They were trying to see if these prophecies were actually coming true.
And that ties into this idea we see all through the Bible, right?
The idea of God working through different cultures and nations to show his plan.
So the Magi are like a symbol of God reaching out to the whole world.
Exactly. It's not just a local thing, the Christmas story. It's got these global implications.
That's pretty powerful when you think about it.
It really is. But there's more to it than just prophecy.
What else?
The book also suggests that the Magi might have been driven by, a pure desire for truth and knowledge.
Okay, so these were guys who spent their lives studying, observing, searching for answers.
Right. So maybe they saw in Jesus something that resonated with that, an answer to those big questions they'd been pondering.
It's like their story connects to this very human thing we all do.
Trying to figure out what it all means.
Exactly. Trying to find our place in the universe.
Exactly. We're all kind of searching for that.
That's a good point. But wait, there's more, right?
Right. The book doesn't stop there. It also explores the idea that the Magi might have been motivated by, a simple desire to worship.
To just like show their reverence.
Yeah, to offer homage to this newborn king. And remember, these were probably pretty important people themselves,
Leaders, advisors, people of influence.
Exactly. So they understood what it meant to pay tribute to a ruler.
So they saw something in Jesus that was worthy of their adoration, something that went beyond all those cultural and geographical differences.
Exactly. It speaks to this human need to believe in something bigger than ourselves.
Wow. So we've got prophecy, the search for knowledge, and this longing to worship. It's like all these different things come together to explain why the Magi went on this journey.
Right. It's not just one simple answer. It's all these things woven together.
This book has really changed how I see the whole Christmas story.
Yeah.
It's so much more complex than I ever realized.
It really is. But what's the takeaway for our listener? What's the big so what?
Good question. What is the big takeaway?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. No matter where they came from or why they went on this journey, the Magi represent all the nations coming together to worship Jesus.
It's like a beautiful picture of unity. Everyone coming together.
Exactly. And the book sees this whole event as foreshadowing how the gospel message would spread to everyone, no matter who they are or what they believe.
It's a reminder that the Christmas story isn't just some historical event. It's this message of hope, this message of redemption that goes beyond time and culture.
Right. And that's a message that's so relevant today, especially in a world that feels so divided sometimes.
Yeah, it's like a reminder that there's something bigger that connects us all.
Exactly. It challenges us to see Christmas as more than just a tradition, but as this living message of love and reconciliation.
This deep dive has been incredible. It's really opened my eyes to a whole new way of looking at this story.
And we've only scratched the surface of what this book has to offer.
So to our listeners, if you're interested in learning more, we highly recommend checking out An Answer for the True Nationality of the Magi. Even if you don't agree with everything it says, it's a fascinating read.
Yeah, it'll definitely make you think and maybe even come up with your own theories.
Exactly. Who knows, maybe you'll have some new insights about the Magi.
That's the beauty of a deep dive like this. It's not about having all the answers. It's about the journey and the questions that come up along the way.
And sometimes the most amazing truths are found in the most unexpected places.
Just like those wise men, following a star to a humble stable and finding something that would change the world.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the mystery of the Magi.
It was a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep searching for the truth wherever it may lead.
And happy holidays, everyone.
Merry Christmas.